do want to refer you again to this folder. I want to recognize some important people and support staff. Beverly Babb in the back is Executive Director of the Arizona Community Tree Council in partnership with DFFM, and she's been with SWAAN since day one. So thank you for all the support. She does all the background stuff. If you're on that SWAAN listserv, it's because of all the support from Beverly. I also want to recognize Ben Downer up here, and he's our AV guy helping out with this. He does marketing for the university for cooperative extension. And Brian Fouts, who will be coming in here. And another person who helped out a lot, her name is Sandra Saad. And Sandra helped me with several things, the catering and all the type of stuff of actually working with campus. And it's another layer of bureaucracy. So Sandra's not here right now. So if you've gotten this out yet, I want to refer you to this one page of all of our sponsors, partners, and collaborators. And thank you so much for these people who made this possible. In particular, I want to recognize the United States Department of Agriculture, National Institute of Food and Agriculture. They provided a grant to support this program and making it pretty easy on me, so that's nice. Western SARE, Sustainable Agriculture and Research Education. They are paying for your bus tomorrow when we go out and do our program on our field trip. Arizona Tree Council, USDA is providing some support. The Natural Resource Conservation Service, the National Agroforestry Center, and the Climate Hubs with Catherine Favor and support that way. So a lot of people helping to make this possible. So if you've seen this little cookie I've got for you, this is an acacia greggii from my backyard. No, I didn't cut it down. This is a branch that broke off. And if you got good eyes or reading glasses, I understand it's like 50 years old. The tree's probably over 100 years. It's full of mistletoe. It's still making it. And I love the mistletoe because my backyard is full of wild birds. And I've got the native birds, the cardinals, and everybody's, the peanut poplar has been there all spring long. So good. So it all kind of fits together. And if you've got a borer in it, you're kind of lucky, you know. So anyway, okay, let me get onto the slides here. Just wanted to make sure I made some recognitions. Here's the Southwest Agroforestry Action Network. Our mission is helping people integrate trees, crops, and animals to regenerate Southwest landscapes. SWAAN's scope of interest is forest agriculture activities on tribal, state, federal, county, municipal, private lands in Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. So it's kind of, that's why I like being part of this group, because it's the 4 states. So I get to go travel to our conferences. So that's really, really nice. And our purpose is to share information and connect potential collaborators with partners. Thank you for being here. This is how we do it. Generate ideas, research as possible, and initiatives, and increase adoption of agroforestry in the Southwest by our ag producers, forest landowners, and communities. I really appreciate Ralph sharing about the Urban Ag and Beginning Farmers program that they're partnering with cooperative extension. Learn about that or look it up and get on the listserv, doing some really neat stuff. Okay, so what is agroforestry? If anybody was questioning this, there are 5 main practices, and we're going to be learning about these things as we go through the day. So I'm just going to rip through them here. Alley cropping. You've got your trees with other type of crops that you're growing. Silvopasture, that includes from cows to chickens and goats and sheep. What they call forest farming. I'm not too sure. That's kind of a difficult affair in the dry land, but maybe we can make it work. Riparian forest buffers and windbreaks. And I don't know how much we're going to get into windbreaks, but even short windbreaks on these desert areas can make a difference on how much erosion you experience. And then food forest hasn't been recognized, I think, yet, but so much interest. So intensive planting is designed to grow food in, below, and between trees. So we're going to spend a lot of time on food forests. Key concepts. Since I've been part of this association, this network, I've been learning some of the key concepts. Matter of fact, I just want to back up. 1988, I joined the Peace Corps. We got some other, who else is Peace Corps here? We got a few, particularly our guys who kind of led this up. I went to Guatemala. I worked with campesinos and we did agroforestry. And I'm excited to get back into agroforestry, but I've been an extension educator ever since. So I'm glad to have found my niche in life here. So some main things about it, agroforestry small scale. We're not, I don't know if this is going to work at a big level, but labor and management typically provided by the farmer or the family or a community that participates in it. And there's this connection to the land. And I think as we see our speakers, they're going to get into how regenerative that is, the soil as well as the people. It is both rural and urban. And one of the important things to do in an arid land is figure out how to plant that water. I'm really happy that after lunch, we're going to have Brad Lancaster as our keynote speaker. He's wrote the book on it. And so we will learn how to plant water in the arid Southwest. It's either through passive rainwater harvesting, such as these curb cuts, or active rain harvesting, if you're able to catch that water and use it later, or create the berms that you're able to slow it down. I guess that's passive too, the earthwork. Soil health, again, adding organic matter to our soils, do that through compost, encourage the microbes that live and make that soil healthy and a living ecosystem, a biome. Using green manure, sequestering carbon, and moving poor soils to being productive. Again, the idea of being regenerative. I'm going to make a quick plug here for biochar. If you think of the 21st century that sequestering carbon is important, you don't have to wait. You can make charcoal and put it in the ground. And I've got a poster in the back, but one way we're doing it is with these kilns, and it doesn't have to be a big kiln like this, but it's called a flame cap kiln. So it burns the fuel at the top, the gases and the bio oil, and down below, it starves the wood of oxygen and makes the charcoal. You quench it and put it back on the ground. It also has particular uses here that make it valuable, either as a sorbent to capture contaminants, or a soil amendment, again, holding water and nutrients, make that available to plants. And as this little thing says, is eventually all wood will go back into the atmosphere when it breaks down. But by turning it into biochar, you can return about half of it to the earth where it's stable for hundreds and hundreds of years. So it's a real way to be able to sequester carbon. Sorry for that little detour, but it's pretty important. Another thing is using woody species of value. I've got Ann Audrey, who's going to get into all that for us. And I forgot with our soils, Debonker Sanyal is going to be our speaker on soils. Okay. Can you make a profit or not? It was been interesting being in here that people aren't necessarily after a profit. They're looking at what they can do for the land. And so ways you're able to make a product is by profit is by having products to be able to sell. Animals are a good way to be able to have a product or something to sell, have herbal and medicinal values, some type of value added to this to be able to turn that around. And Josie Hart in particular is going to share that with us. And this concept of being regenerative. So many people I've interacted with doing agroforestry in the Southwest, it's about the soil, it's about the people, it's about their sense of place. They've got a connection to the land. It can be cultural or spiritual that their concerns are. It could be about the environment and wildlife and planet. It's just that kind of small to big. It just, I don't know, gets me kind of fuzzy here. All right, I'm gonna stop here and hand it to Jim Allen here in just a moment. Also, great opportunities and interest with our tribal reservations and populations. Across the Southwest, I don't have the pictures of Utah and Colorado, but lots of land, lots of people, lots of interest, lots of opportunity. It ties in with traditional ecological knowledge. So being able to use that, the values, it just really helps It's a good practice with tribal partners. Soil and health issues, social and health issues. People do this for their health. Agroforestry can help address it. The idea of it being a safe place, part of a community, healing, culturally important, regenerative, and then working with tribes, respect that data sovereignty. The process and relationship building is so important. If you don't establish trust, you're not getting somewhere. And so let's get started.